And the next thing I'm going to be putting in our cider is elderberry, right? And some cayenne pepper, garlic, oregano, about this much. And like I said, all fresh ingredients is what I'm using here. So I'm going to store my cider on the refrigerator because I'm using fresh ingredients. Also going to be putting in a nice bunch of thyme, some herbs, some more herbs, a combination of mints, right? Ginger, a nice piece of ginger or 2 pieces of ginger, actually. 2 large oranges and 2 large lemons. I'm also going to be using a pineapple, but I'm only going to be using the core and maybe 1 or 2 slices of the whole pineapple. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to cut the head off, right? You can plant that if you want to. And yeah, I'm just going to take the skin off. And you can, if you wash your pineapple really good before doing this, you can use the skin to make a delicious drink. All right, so cutting the skin off here. Okay, cut the bottom off. I'm not worried about the little pieces of pineapple that's left on here because I'm going to be using it to make a drink, right? And then I'm just going to get the core of the pineapple. This little gadget is just so great. Go in and get your core while it's slicing. It's kind of hard to do this because the pineapple is so ripe, it's soft. But yeah, so like I was saying, you can use kombucha cider. Let's say if you have your it's not gonna go any further. Let's say you have your kombucha in the hotel, as they call it, sitting around. You can use that juice that you have there in your kombucha hotel, right? And this is what we're going for, the core. The pineapple is so ripe, you guys, that it couldn't be cut anymore. So I'm just gonna cut the core out. And then I'm gonna put those little smashed pieces in. But this is what we're going for. This is all that we're going for. All of that ado for that. Okay. So we're gonna start loading up our kombucha, our cider, our kombucha. Bear with me, guys. I'm perimenopausal. Alright, so here's our bottle. Alright, the first thing I like to put at the bottom are the fresh herbs. Hope you're able to see me. See what I'm doing. Closer. Alright, the first thing I like to do is to put my garlic at the bottom, right? Little piece of pineapple here. I like to put my garlic at the bottom. So I just go ahead and smash them. Just like this. And this is about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of, or 5 cloves of garlic. And then I like to smash my ginger. Just bruise it, beat it up a little bit, you know, just like that. Like that, and throw it in there. All right, and then I like to put a little bit of cayenne pepper. I'd say about a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, and I'm using the therapeutic grade. I think this is about 10,000 units of heat. IU, I think is what it's called. And then we're going to start loading on our citrus. Cut the bottoms off. Actually, this can go in there. but I don't like to put it in there because, you know, I'm just thinking that little things are stuck in here. All right, so I'm gonna slice our oranges here. And I like to layer, so I'm putting them in just like so. And yeah, it helps if you have a wide mouth jar, because then you can stick your hand down in there and kind of press them down, press stuff down, right? But I have my plunger for that, my plunger from my Vitamix that I do use to press things down like that. Okay, so I've put in my first orange, right? I'm gonna put in my lemon. If I had guava, I'd also put guava in here, but I'm all out of guava. Guava also has a ton of vitamin C, and you're probably wondering, where is she gonna pack all of that? But yeah, we're gonna stuff everything in there. Okay, and so now I'm gonna put my mint. Okay, just gonna take my Vitamix plunger or whatever you have and stuff it in there. And then I'm gonna put a half of a cup of elderberry, dried elderberry. Okay. Ooh, made a mess there. Okay. Then I don't think I actually need all this thyme. I'm not gonna put all this thyme in there. I'm gonna cut some of the stem off, because the stem, even though I've washed it very well, but the stem seems to carry a lot of soil. So then I'm gonna put this nice chunk of thyme in there. Then oregano. Then my lemongrass. And my rosemary. Also have a little piece of sage. And a nice piece of holybasil. Stuff that in there. And I'm going to use my plunger and do that. Also gonna not forget my pineapple core here. Just gonna slice it. And I'm trying to slice it thin. Alright. Like this. Put that in there. And a few pieces, like the smashed pieces from the pineapple. Right, I'm gonna put those in there as well. Little chunks. What this is gonna do is give it a nice flavor. Okay. Because this is gonna give it a nice flavor, because the bromelain, I think is what it's called. It's actually in the core of the pineapple. Right, I'm gonna put another splash of cayenne pepper, just a little teeny bit. So before I had put like a half a tablespoon, and now I put the other half of the tablespoon. No, I always like to end with the citrus. Right? How is she gonna fit all of that in there? With my dear plunger. And you'd be surprised to see that it still will take your vinegar. Okay. All right, a couple pieces left. See, this is what it looks like. All right. Okay. And then be sure to invert your, make sure that the mother is going to go in there, right? And this is always the fun part, to see how much it's able to take. And you just pour slowly. And it's gonna start to bubble because all these spaces are filling up. But so just continue to throw it in there slowly. You see it bubbling all over. And then give it a chance to fill. See what's happening here. It's filling up slowly. So you want to give it that chance to, fill up until it stops doing all of that. Right? See on top. And then when it stops, it's had enough. Okay. And even though it might be just giving one bubbles, two bubbles, or so on, still give it about a minute, because you still might end up with a little space up here. You can even tug it a little bit if you want to. Let's see, I'm getting a little bit more space. Starting to change color because of the elderberry. All right, so I have a little bit of space. Now, how do we take this? We typically like to use, if we're using the balm, the flu balm, which is the other one that you'd make, that's very popular as well. Flu balm with the turmeric and the ginger and the garlic and all of that stuff. We usually take about a tablespoon or two in a cup of hot water every morning, right? And so we do the same thing with this. And so it's nice and full. I don't think it's gonna take any more. So I'm gonna put it in my refrigerator, right? Because I'm using fresh stuff. But if you're using mostly dried herbs, they say you can put it in a dark spot for 30 days. And then you can strain it, and that elixir that you get, that's what you're going to be using. But I'm going to put this on my refrigerator. Prayerfully, we won't need it at all. And I'm going to let it stay there for about 2 months. So I'll have all of, I'll have the remainder of August, September, and the end of October, just in time for the fall and winter months. And then I'll strain it and put it in a jar and still keep it in my refrigerator. All right, so until the next video, guys. Oh, and this is the amount of vinegar that I used. So I know a lot of people are afraid about the acidity, taking in the acidity of it. But once you have all of these ingredients in it, it lessens the acidity of this guy here, of the apple cider vinegar. All right, guys, I hope that you'll try it, and that prayerfully we won't need it, and we'll go through the flu season without needing it at all. But it's a good thing to have on hand to use prophylactically. It either will prevent or lessen the severity of an attack. Until the next video, guys, God bless. Bye.